Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Bob from Southwest Michigan Sales L.L.C. I'm glad to have you here today. Sorry that I haven't been on the channel putting new videos out recently. I have actually been working on sales tax, and I got to thinking this is something I should probably address on my channel. The difference between if you sell on like a marketplace like eBay or Mercari or Etsy, many times those marketplaces are going to collect the sales tax for you and remit it on your behalf to the state where your buyer resides. When you have your own e-commerce website, that is totally different. That is now back on you to handle that tax obligation. First of all, you're going to have a tax obligation in the state that you are located or reside, or where your business is located. For me, that would be Michigan. Also, you have to keep track of your nexus for sales tax. What a nexus is how many sales you have to hit a certain mark for each state, for how many sales that you make into that state, and also the gross sales that you ship into that state. Each state has the different guidelines. There's just too many guidelines for me to monitor myself. So what I have is a company called L.L.C. that they monitor all of my sales that come through my website, and they notify me if I get close to hitting a nexus for a state, then I may have to get licensed in that state to start collecting sales tax and remitting sales tax on the behalf of my business. So far my business is quite small. I do not have a nexus. I don't foresee any time in the future of hitting a nexus, because most states are $20,000–$25,000 worth of sales in that particular state in a year's time. And I'm definitely not hitting that for any state right now. My business is still definitely in the growth mode, but this is something that you must keep in mind if you wish to create your own e-commerce site, as you have to remit that sales tax yourself. Also too, there are different municipalities that have a sales tax added on plus the state sales tax, and that would be something you'd have to keep track of as well in your particular state. It's just, there's a lot of variables to that. You're going to have to look into your particular situation. Let me give you an instance. Back in 2023, Michigan always charged sales tax on the shipping rate as well. And I kind of remember it being around April of 2023 that I had received another order from a customer here in Michigan. And I thought L.L.C. had made a mistake, because I noticed that the tax was not calculated correctly. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, you're not charging tax on the shipping like you have been all along. And they're like, okay, let us look into it and we will get back to you. Well, I totally was not aware of this. Michigan actually took and changed their law, and they signed a new law into effect that sales tax is going to be only charged going forward on the actual product cost, no longer on the sales tax as well. So that affected the tax rate on those particular items. So let's say, for instance, someone bought something for 20 bucks. Well, Michigan has a 6% sales tax rate. And let's say on that $20 order, shipping was $10. Before the law was changed, tax would have been charged on the $20 plus the $10 shipping for a total of $1.80 sales tax. Well, when the law was changed, it was only charged on the $20, which would make the new tax rate $1.20 would be collected. So that's a 60 cents savings on a $10 purchase. That would be for the shipping rate. So I believe that was a positive for the state of Michigan, but it's something that you must keep in mind if you decide to take and create your own e-commerce site. There are different companies out there that you can deal with. I know I looked into for a little while, and I'm still considering. There's a company called TaxCloud. They seem to be a little bit more reasonable than what L.L.C. was. I will put out a video sometime in the future explaining to you. You also have to keep track of your classification of the product, because each product will have a different way of being taxed. If you go on L.L.C.com, they have a tax code, or if you enter in like google.com and go and enter in L.L.C. tax codes search, it should bring it up, and you could like put in glassware or antiques or video games. For instance, one code that I use quite often is video games, and that code is DG01110. Another one I use quite often is media, which is like CDs, DVDs, cassette tapes, LPs, things like that. That would be DM 0100300, if I remember the number correctly. I may have that wrong, but I believe that's the correct number. But anyway, there's a lot of variables you're going to have to keep track of. So keep that in mind if you decide that you want to go out and create your own site. It's just not create it and you're ready to go. There's tax situations you have to keep track of. Also, too, I will tell you guys, I had a customer in the last year that actually was from Florida. Before they purchased from me, they actually sent me an email through my business saying, hey, why aren't you charging me tax? And they were located in Florida. And I told them, unfortunately, at this time, I am not hitting a nexus for the state of Florida, so I am not licensed to have to require to collect sales tax in the state of Florida. Now, the buyer, from everything that I know, the buyer is supposed to remit that sales tax themselves through most states. I don't know every state. I'm not familiar with that law, but that's something that I know for Michigan. If I was to make a purchase from someone that doesn't collect sales tax, by law, I'm supposed to take and contact the state and pay that tax myself as the consumer. Now, we both know many people don't do that, but I will tell you it is written in the law. I'm sure there are people that do that, and I'm sure there's people that don't do that. That's not for me to take and worry about. That's for that particular customer to worry about. So I just want to give you that little bit of information as well. But just keep in mind, it's not just you create your own site and all of a sudden you don't have any worries. You have a lot of things that you have to keep in mind and you have to think about when you decide to take and create your own e-commerce site. And sales tax is just one of those scenarios. I've been lucky enough so far that I only have to be licensed in the state of Michigan. I don't believe I'm going to hit anytime soon a nexus, because I've looked into some of the states and most of them are $25,000 and up in sales, and then X amount of transactions. X amount of transactions, I could see I might hit that, but most of them you have to hit the dollar amount as well before you'd have to collect tax. If I do end up hitting a nexus in a state, I personally am not going to have time to keep track of that. So what I'll have to do is I'll probably have to start paying Avalara even more money to keep track of that state, and then I'll have to take and file a return with that state as well, besides the state of Michigan, which I'm already doing. It's just a part of growing your business. Is something that you want to keep in mind. Also, too, you're going to have to determine with the state. They're going to tell you how often you have to file. You may have to file monthly, quarterly, yearly. The state will contact you and tell you how often they want you to file. It depends. I know for myself, depending on the year, they've been having me switch back and forth. I was filing one thing and then they switched me back to something else. Each year could possibly be different. The state will always contact you and send you a letter telling you when they want you to file. As far as like a monthly return or a quarterly return for the state of Michigan, it would be due the following month on the 20th. So let's say you're on a monthly return basis. You'd have to make quite a few sales in that state that you're located, or for the state of Michigan where you're located, to become monthly. That's quite a high tax bracket. And let's say, for instance, January we're in currently. So that month tax report would be due on February 20th. And if you are on a quarterly, then you would take and wait until January, February, March are over, and your quarterly return would be due on April 20th. Now, as far as once you do your monthly or your quarterly return, you will take, and once that year is over, you also need to remember and make sure that you have to take and file an annual return as well. That's more or less to take and keep all the information correct and to make sure that your quarterly returns were correct. And if something was amiss, you might have to file an amendment to one of the returns that you've done. I know one of the years that I did, I forgot to take and put a 0 in for a use tax. on a form, and the state of Michigan sent me a letter saying your return was not correct, and I had to reach out to them and say, okay, what did I miss? What did I do? I don't believe I made any mistakes. And it was something as simple as I had to file an amendment and just enter a 0. My tax liability didn't change. Nothing changed on that end. I just had to enter a 0. For 2024, I made sure I did not make that same mistake. I made sure to put that in there. I'm sure that when another year comes, I'm probably going to get notified on another year as well, saying, hey, you got to do something. Hopefully not. But this is something that you must keep in mind if you're going to take and create your own e-commerce site. There are lots of pluses. I greatly enjoy having my own site. You get to be able to reach out to your customers, and you get to be able to build a lasting relationship with them. But I just wanted to let you guys know, as far as sales tax, this is information that you're going to need to take and do. Each state is going to be different. You're going to need to contact your state to find out your rules and regulations. I'm just speaking as far as Michigan because that's where I'm located and how it's handled here. As always, if you have any questions about the video, please put your comment below. Also, if you'd please like, share, subscribe the video, that would be greatly appreciated. And I am planning on putting out more videos as well about lots of different subjects regarding having my own e-commerce site. I know that I've been bogged down pretty good on doing my sales tax and the information I've been working on, so I haven't been recording much as far as like. Something else I also wanted to add at the end of this video as well. I am not a tax expert, and I definitely am not someone to say this is the way it's supposed to be done. Please always remember to refer to your local state or your local tax expert in your area to confirm all the details and information is correct for you and for your business. I am just giving you the scenarios on how my business operates and how I do things. Please take all information always with a grain of salt. Anything that you see online, always keep that in mind. I just wanted to give everyone an insight on how I handle things and how I do things for my business. And I just wanted to let you guys know that. And again, I greatly appreciate everyone watching. And until the next one, we'll see you later.